Hello and welcome to today's video. We're talking about 4 exercises to improve your front crawl or freestyle technique. Welcome to Hampstead Heath Lido. So the first exercise we're going to talk about is the single arm drill. Now, that is what it sounds like. We're going to put one arm by our side and use the other arm as a means to pull ourselves through the water. What this lets you do is focus on your entry, your catch, your pull and your recovery. So all 4 stages of your front crawl or freestyle stroke. You might be tempted to use aids, you might be tempted to use some sort of flotation device or even do this in a wetsuit. Try your best to not do that. You want to be as natural as possible. As I mentioned, it is what it sounds like. I want you to have one arm by your side. This arm is going to stay glued to your side. You're not going to move it. It's going to make it quite tricky for you to stay balanced in the water. Imagine you're swimming. I'll show you a little bit in a sec. And you're bringing this arm over the top. Each time your shoulder's going to turn, turn, turn. As you move forward, you might be tempted to raise your shoulder out of the water. Try your best not to. If you can, and this is very difficult, try and breathe to the side, but I don't blame you if you sort of don't want to do that. It's fairly tricky. It's fine to take your head out of the water straight in front of you and take your breath like that, then go back in and carry on practicing. So I'd practice this drill for maybe 3 or 5, depending on how long you can hold your breath for. 3 or 5 pulls, have a bit of a rest, take a breath, then carry back on. See if you can get an entire length. This is a 60-meter pull, so that's a bit far, but I assume you're in a 25-meter pull. See if you can get an entire length with just this drill, then build it up to 2 lengths, then build it up to 4 lengths, but I wouldn't go much more than that. With your arm glued by your side, it's going to be tempting for your body to rotate even more than you normally would. So it lets you focus on your center line, your position in the water. Keep your legs in that flutter kick to keep yourself flat and horizontal on top of the water. Your arm is going to come over the top, enter the water, you're going to catch, you're going to pull, and then you're going to recover that arm over the top. Obviously you're only using one arm, so make sure you don't swim around in circles. You want to pull that water straight behind you. Catch up, let's slow it down. So catch up is exactly what it sounds like. We're going to slow right down. That flutter kick stays to keep yourself horizontal in the water, but we're not looking to practice speed with this exercise. So this drill, I call it a drill because it's fairly boring. It's going to take quite a lot of your mental energy to keep going. Is a very, very slow exercise that essentially means you're holding your arms out in front of you as if you're about to push off from the wall. One arm stays in front of you as the other does the 4 stages of the front pull or freestyle pull. So I'm nominating my left arm to stay in front of me. My right arm starts to pull. I'll show you in the water in a second, but just for demonstration purposes, my right arm starts to pull through the water, all the way back, recovery and entry. Stop. The other arm is going to pull all the way back. And all we're doing is playing catch up with one another. Now, it's going to let you focus on those 3 or 4 stages, but not concurrently, because you're not going one arm after the other, you're sort of alternating. But let's say for argument's sake, the 3 stages, so the pull, the recovery and the entry, and then when you start off on the next one, it's the catch. So you can focus on those 4 stages with this method. The other arm is cutting through the water, gliding. That's really important. You keep that arm as extended as possible. Not too much so it pulls your shoulder forward, but I want your shoulders square with your body, arm extended in front of you. It's going to cut a line, and as you go, make sure that your eyes remain forward slightly at the floor. You don't want your head out of the water, you don't want your head looking at the floor. Your normal position. When you want to take a breath, on that dedicated arm pull, as you pull back, rotate your body, take your breath. Remember, this is nice and slow, so it's going to be fairly strenuous because it's quite a lot of balance, so you can take a little bit more time to breathe. As you pull back, take your breath, arm comes over the top, face back in the water, and carry on. Fists closed. Now, this is an exercise that lets you focus on your front crawl pull, but not the part that you would be most used to. Normally in front crawl, when our hand enters the water, we like to think that it's your hand that's doing the majority of the pulling. Now, this is correct. However, your forearm and parts of your underarm here are actually pulling quite a lot of water behind you. You're about to see. So practice front crawl, only this time have your fists closed. So you're going to be literally punching the water and pulling back through. You're using your forearm and your underarm to pull that water behind you. It's going to feel like you're swimming in custard. It's going to be very difficult for you to stay up as well. So as you lean forward, your balance is off. When you pull back, make sure you're focusing on that pull to get that water behind you. I don't want to see this because you're getting tired. This is about slowing right down and really focusing on pulling that water behind you. When you take your breath, it's going to be a bit tricky. So instead of pulling back and breathing at the same time, I would get your arm behind you, lift your head out to the side or in front of you if you are not confident breathing to the side. Try your best not to roll over. It's going to be quite tricky. Swim, golf. Not what it sounds like. This is the idea of less is more. So I want you to swim a length. We're at Hampstead Heath Lido today. It's 60 metres long. I'm not saying you need to go to a 60-metre pool. Your normal 25-metre pool leisure centre is fine. However, count your strokes. If you have a smartwatch and you've got it on a swimming exercise kind of tracking thing, it will count your strokes for you. However, in my experience, I've not been the most confident with its number. I don't think it's terribly accurate. Also, they rely on you hitting the wall at the end to know what length you're on, and it's not very often, especially if you're doing a tumble turn, that your hands are hitting the wall. But if you're not doing tumble turns and you're pushing off the wall, I find often you kind of need to slam your hand on the wall, and I don't want you to injure yourself. So let's do some old-fashioned counting. As you swim across the pool, count your strokes. The idea being you've got a baseline, and then when you go forward with your training, your exercise in your swimming journey, or if you're an advanced swimmer, you're trying to eke out that last little efficiency. If you're counting your strokes, so literally as we're swimming, 1, 2, I'm not going to count for you, but you get the gist. In that length, so from end to end, there's going to be a number of pulls that you do. That number is your baseline when you start out. Now we're going to try and beat it. We're going to try and reduce that number, even by 1 or 2 as a percentage across the pool. That's a massive improvement. So don't get disheartened if you've been counting your strokes for a couple of weeks now and you think to yourself, I've only reduced it by two pulls. Over the course of a swimming fitness session, that is a big gain in efficiency, and that's a big gain in improvement to your swim stroke. Thank you for watching today's video. If you've got any questions or queries, or want to ask me, or want to see something more, leave a comment below and I will respond to you. If you would subscribe to our channel, that really helps us make more content and lets us know that you're interested. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Hi.